Keith Rucker here at VintageMachinery.org. So I'm going to put together another little odds and ends video for you guys today, and we're going to have a little bit of mixture of stuff in here. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what's been going on at the museum this weekend with a project that kind of turned into something totally different. Anyway, I'll tell you that story in a minute. Also need to give you a little update on my YouTube channel. Got some things happening there that I just want to make people aware of. And finally, we've had a good bit of viewer mail come in over the last week or so since my last video. And as always, want to share those items with you and let you kind of see what people are sending along. I get a lot of comments from folks that they enjoy seeing the tools and learning about different tools that are out there, that they learn from it. I also get comments that people don't like seeing that, but I'm going to keep on doing it. If people send me stuff, I'm going to share with you guys what they send. I think it's the least I can do. I think people that send stuff along, part of it is they like to see their stuff being shown as well. And by all means, I think many of you tell me you enjoy seeing it as well. So anyway, that's what we're going to be doing, and let's get at it. So first off, my YouTube channel. Long drawn out story that I'm not even going to go into because it's really not important, but because of some things that have changed with my ISP and with some policies at Google and some other stuff, I've had to change some stuff kind of in the background on my YouTube channel. Most of it you'll probably never even notice. It has to do with user accounts and some things like that, but I basically had to move my YouTube channel to a different login, different user account, and unfortunately it wasn't as easy as it should have been because of the way my channel was originally set up. And again, Google made some policy changes and did away with the way my channel was set up, which was a little bit different than some others. And it took me about a month and a half to get it all straightened out. Guys, there for a little while, I thought that my YouTube channel, I was going to basically get locked out of my YouTube channel, but I have to hand it to the folks at Google and YouTube. When I contacted them and told them my situation, they were extremely helpful. It did take them a little while because they had to literally manually go in and make some things happen, because what most people can just go and do on their own, for some reason I was not able to do that. But the main thing I want you guys to know, though, is that during this transition from going from one user account to another user account, again behind the scenes, my comments and messages coming to me has just gotten all screwed up. And I know that over the past couple of weeks that I have missed some of your comments, some of the stuff that's been sent to me through YouTube. If you have sent me something through YouTube, a message or whatever, and I have not replied, I apologize. Just understand that I've been very frustrated with this. And if it's something that you need to follow up with me, just send me another message, and things should be working much better now. I also want to mention, I've kind of connected to my YouTube channel. I have a new Google Plus account as well. My old one, I think it's still out there, but I can't post anything to it anymore. It's just kind of in la-la land. But I've got a new Google Plus account set up. I never have really been real big on using the Google Plus, but that's something I want to try to change. I will admit that I'm not much into social media. I'm not on Facebook. I was on Facebook for a while and kind of just got overwhelmed with it. There was just so many messages coming in, and it was taking up so much of my time that I did away with it. And but through the YouTube channel, the Google Plus is a good way to kind of keep in touch with you guys, and I think I'm going to really make a good strong attempt to be a little bit more connected on my Google Plus page. So if you are following me on my old Google Plus page, you need to connect to the new one, because nothing's going to be posted on the old one anymore. And if you are interested in doing that, I would encourage you to go to my Google Plus page. Up on the banner up above, there's a little Google Plus icon that you can click on that will take you right to my Google Plus page, and I'll put a link in here as well. But if you're interested, go ahead and start following me over there as well. And I'm going to try to give you guys some sneak peeks of things that are going on, maybe some stuff that I'm not shooting videos on for whatever reason, and kind of give you some stuff there, and probably a little bit more personal stuff on there as well, if you know, about what's going on, where places that I'm going to, whatever. I do a lot of traveling with my job, and I get to see some interesting things, so maybe I can, you know, share some of that kind of stuff with you guys as well as I'm out and about. So anyway, enough on that. I apologize again if it's caused anybody any inconvenience. Hopefully most of you have not even noticed that anything has changed. And but if you have had problems, then I apologize, and let me know if there's anything that we need to follow up on. All right, so up first, got a gift that came in from Walter Peterson up in Miles, Wyoming. And Walter contacted me and said he had a Jacobs number 18N Super Chuck that he wanted to pass my way. And he had seen where I was looking for one in an older video. I told him, you know, that quite honestly, I had a 18N and I had a 20N. Or I do have a 20N, but he said, well, I'd still like to send it to you if you think you can use it. It was surplus to him. And I said, yeah, I would love to have it. So he did pack it up and send it to me. This thing is sweet. Comes with a chuck key that's in great shape. The chuck itself looks like it is, I mean, it has seen use, but it looks like it's in really good shape. And he told me when he sent it to me, he said, you know, it's a little bit stiff. Well, I got it, and it was a little bit stiff. But I put a little oil on it, and let me tell you something, this thing is just as smooth as can be. I have not chucked it up or done anything with it to see how it runs yet. It came with a number 3 Morse taper on it. My other 18N has number 4 Morse taper, which I'm going to use on the lathe, or which I am using on the lathe. But what I really want to do with this one is use it on my milling machine, on my Wells Index vertical mill. So I have purchased a R8 spindle, and we're going to be popping out this number 3 Morse taper and putting in this R8. And this should give me a really nice heavy-duty big chuck to use on my milling machine. I've got right now a chuck that goes up to 1/2 inch, just a keyless chuck, and quite honestly, it's not the greatest chuck in the world. It has served me well, but I have ran into limitations with that one, needing something occasionally with a little bit larger capacity, and this super chuck should fill the bill. So Walter, thanks a lot. I do appreciate it. Even though this is a duplicate, it's really a new chuck in a sense for me, because it's going to be able to be used on the mill, where I got my other one pretty much set up to use on the lathe. So a very nice addition, very much appreciated, very, very nice gift. And we'll get this thing, we'll get this new arbor, or new arbor put in here pretty quick, and where we can start using this. So what a crazy weekend I have had. I'm filming this on a Sunday afternoon, and I was been out of town traveling the last couple of weeks, and anyway, I was really looking forward for this last Saturday to get here, because I was going to be able to spend the day in the shop and get some cool things done. And I've got a project that I'm working on at the museum, and I haven't posted any video on it yet. It's coming. I've got the video shot. I just haven't edited it and put it up, but you can probably be looking forward to down the road. I'm going to be cutting some gears from some small gears. It's actually for a blacksmith blower that was just totally wore out at the museum, and we're basically rebuilding the whole blower. It's going to involve making several sets of gears to go in there. And I had already machined out the shafts and most of the gear blanks that need to be cut. I had gotten my dividing head all set up and tested, make sure everything was cutting figured out, make sure I could cut all the right increments. And Saturday morning I loaded everything up, my dividing head up, went to the museum, and I was going to cut gears. And I was really excited about it, because it's been a while since I've done that, and it's something different and fun. So I get out to the museum and get my dividing head up on the horizontal mill, and I start doing some adjustments and getting things kind of ready. And as I have shared with you guys before, the rapid traverse on that mill, there's something screwy with it, and I just haven't taken the time to try to fix it. And every time I use it, I say, I need to take the time to fix it. Well, I really got frustrated with it Saturday morning. And I said, that's it. I'm not doing anything else. We're gonna see if we can figure out what's going on. So I start tearing into the mill and literally, pulling stuff off. I've got a parts diagram that, kind of shows how everything is in there, which was helpful, but quite honestly didn't give me all the information I needed. And it's like a jigsaw puzzle trying to tear into some of these old machines, particularly complicated machines that's got all the gears and stuff in there. So anyway, that morning I'm tearing into it, start working on it, and phone rings. My wife calls, and little family crisis, nothing serious or major, but I basically had to stop what I was doing, meet my wife, and we had to take care of a few little things. And again, it wasn't anything devastating or anything like that, but it was just something that needed to be done. So that I was out of the shop a good hour and a half. So I finally get back into the shop, get back in on working on the milling machine, and I'm into the job maybe 20 minutes, and I realize that I don't have a tool that I need. So I have to stop. I ride to town. It wasn't an expensive tool. It was only about $8 or $9, but I needed a certain tool, and I went to town, found one, brought it back out, and started back on the machine. Well, then it was rolling around, about 20 minutes later it's rolling around, and I need to go grab a bite to eat lunch, because I always give our train engineer, steam locomotive engineer, a break at lunchtime at the museum so he can take a lunch break, and I'll go and drive the train for 45 minutes, an hour while he takes a break. And so I went and grabbed a quick lunch, came back, put on my overalls and my hickory stripe hat, went out there, got on the train, and ran the train. Usually I run about 2 laps around, and then he's back out and gets back on the train. Well, for whatever reason, I ran my 2 laps like I normally do, and he wasn't at the depot. So I said, well, I'll go ahead and run another lap. He'll be back in a little bit. And on the 3rd lap, as I'm going around the track and I'm just about back to the station, I'm going through a curve, the back car of the train decides to jump off the track. It's happened before. It doesn't happen very often, and it wasn't anything really scary or dangerous. You think train derailment, everything's bad. Well, it wasn't anything like that at all. We stopped the train. Nobody was hurt. In fact, most of the people in the car didn't even realize that it had happened. We got everybody off the train, pulled the cars apart. Well, now, of course, Billy, our engineer, comes back up, and he's helping me. I have to go back to the shop, get the forklift. Forklift won't start. Have to go get my truck, jump off the forklift, put the long forks on the forklift, drive it out to the site, pick the car up, put it back on the rails. We hook the train back up. And, of course, this whole episode right here, it takes a good 45 minutes to an hour just to get the car put back on. So finally, okay, it's about 1:30 in the afternoon now, and I'm back to the milling machine. Going to get in there and get my job done. And about the time I'm, starting to really get back in there again, my phone rings again, and it's Billy, the engineer. Keith, the car jumped off again, same spot it just did a minute ago. So go get the forklift, go back up there, pull it back apart, set the car back on the rail again, and hook it back up. Well, this time I started doing some investigating. If the car jumps off once, you kind of like, well, it happens from time to time. When it jumps off twice in the same spot, there's a problem. So I started looking, and sure enough, right there in the curve, the track had gotten just a little bit out of gauge. It got a little bit wide, and it was just enough where the car was jumping off. And we had just checked the gauge up in this area about 2 or 3 months ago, and it was fine, but rails move sometimes. So anyway, we decided we're just going to shut the train down for the day. By now it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The day's about over anyway. They hauled the rest of the people out on a wagon behind a tractor from the museum instead of on the train. So get back down to the shop. Had about another 30-45 minutes to work on the milling machine. Then I had to go because we had some plans that evening with the family. So all in all, I spent all day out there with hopes of tearing in this milling machine and getting all the stuff done. And I may have gotten a good 2.5-3 hours worth of work tearing in the mill machine. So today on Sunday, I actually went back out after church today and tore back in the machine when I didn't have anybody out there bothering me, and was able to concentrate on it. And I think that I have figured out what the problem is, and we'll do an episode here in a minute to kind of show you what we're dealing with on the milling machine. A couple of weeks ago, got a email from Dakota Hunt out in Tucson, Arizona, and Dakota wanted my address. He wanted to send me a couple of things to help out around the shop, and didn't really give any details of what he's going to send. Wanted to be a surprise. So got that box, and wow, blown away, Dakota. This is just really awesome, the stuff you sent along. He sent along a little note, and let's see, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but he said that he had picked up some tooling at a yard sale, a couple other things here. He said pretty much everything in here was duplicates to stuff that he had and didn't really need. He works as, I believe, as a machinist, and he says a lot of stuff where he works is provided for him. So some of the stuff, like some of the tooling he sent along, he said he really didn't even need at all. But some of the tools, again, were all duplicates, and said for me to feel free to use it, to trade it with other people, anything I want to with it. So thanks a lot, Dakota. Let's show you guys what all Dakota sent along. This is awesome. All right, so let's go ahead and start working through here. This is in no particular order, but probably the first thing that I saw when I pulled this thing out was this really cool shell mill here, inserted shell mill. He sent along an R8 arbor. In his note, he made a comment about how I had mentioned that I had picked up an 1.25 inch shell mill arbor for my horizontal mill, and he said that he knew this would fit. And he also included an R8 one for it. Got to get a bolt to go through here and tighten that up. But anyway, this is amazing. This is a Kennametal Harvey, they call it, Harvi. It takes 5 inserts per row, and there are, in addition to the ones on the bottom here, it also goes up the side. So there's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35 inserts to fill this thing up. And he even included some brand spanking new inserts, 5 inserts on the bottom, you know, to just use it like a fly cutter or whatever. If I wanted to do side milling, I need to pick up some extra inserts. So absolutely amazing. Additionally, he sent along a couple of packs of inserts. So these are also Kennametals. Let's see, these are SDCT 1204s is the size, and these come in packs of 5. And I looked these up. The ones that are in here, I'm not exactly sure what these are, but just looking at the inserts, I think these are for cast iron. He sent along some that I looked these up online. Those are for steel, and then these are for aluminum and other non-ferrous materials. So amazing. I've never had a shell mill this nice, and I'm really anxious to give this thing a try. So anyway, this is something you'll probably see getting used on some of my videos. You know, he did make a comment to me via email. You know, this is for kind of doing roughing work, particularly on the side milling over there. And of course, it was, you know, really designed more for a CNC machine than a manual machine. But by no means does that mean you couldn't use it, particularly on my horizontal mill. Would have enough power to really be able to hog some metal off with a cutter like this. So again, very anxious to try this out. And that's just one of many items. And I'm not going to go in any order. I'm just grabbing stuff off the top of the pile here. He sent along one of these files. I don't even know how you say that. Supertamian. So this is a new file. These are made in Portugal. And I've actually had some people recommend these. I've commented about how I'm somewhat of file hoard. I love files, and I really like U.S. American-made files because, quite honestly, a lot of the files you get now just aren't that good. But I've heard some people talk about these and how these are pretty good files. So it looks like pretty good quality. You got a coarse, real coarse cut on this side and a finer cut on this side, and you also got cuts on the end. But anyway, we're gonna try this out and see how it goes. Because again, I've been real disappointed in the quality of a lot of the newer files being made today. So hopefully that's going to be a good one. Let's see here. Got just a little fly cutter, high-speed steel fly cutter, used on the milling machine. I've got a couple of fly cutters. But I'm not sure if I got one in this size. I don't use fly cutters that much. I've got a couple of of these more modern shell mills that I tend to use, but sometimes a fly cutter just really comes in handy for certain jobs. And again, this right here, this may end up in the trade pile. I need to look and see what I got, but that's definitely something that is useful on the milling machine. All right, so working our way down in here. Best test dial indicator, Brown and Sharp. This is a number 7030-5, and this is a little test indicator. And this one has increments on there to half thousandths. And interestingly, he didn't just send one test indicator, but here's another one, Brown and Sharp Best Test. This one is a 7029-5. And it also, this one only has increments on a thousandths of an inch. It doesn't have the half increments. These are basically, they appear to be the same basic indicator, but the dial's a little bit different, so you can read half thousandths on this one, and this one is only to 1/1000th of an inch. And wait, there's more. Another nice test indicator here. This one is a Mitutoyo, or Mitutoyo, however you say it. And this one here is really nice. It comes with some accessories. This one here again is for measuring to 1/1000th of an inch. It's got some mounting hardware in here and what have you. Different things different tips that can fit on there. It's got the wrench to adjust it with. So anyway, some really nice test indicators. And I'm particularly liking this Brown and Sharp here that measures to the half thousandths. I've got a couple of test indicators, and this one here, most of the ones I have only measure to 1/1000ths. I just got that one a week or two ago that measures to a 10/1000ths, but the half thousandths on that one's real nice. And this Mitutoyo will also be nice. I really like it because it has this really long, deep probe that goes down into a part, so you can reach down in something. Even the long shank here, that's going to be really nice if you need to get up inside of a bore or something like that to do some indicating. Both of these will come in handy. One of these probably end up in the trade pile. We'll see. I need to kind of take inventory on my indicators and come up with a plan there. All right, next here, got a couple of tap wrenches. Both of these Greenfield tap and dies. Let's see, we got a 328 and a 338, looks like. So this is a 328. Love Greenfield tap and die stuff, guys. This one here is also nice. It has the ratchet feature in there. So you got a little thing here where you can go either ratchet. This is in that mode. It turns in both directions, and then you can go the other way and to back something out. So this is a really nice one to use if you're in tight quarters. Maybe you can't make a full turn, but in the ratchet mode, you can maybe turn a quarter of a turn at a time or something in tight corners. But anyway, two nice tap wrenches there. The Starrett box, but no Starrett inside. Still a nice item. This is a keyless chuck, and Dakota told me that, you know, there are some issues with this, and told me to do with it what I can. So he said that it appears to be a pretty nice quality. It doesn't have a name on it. It says made in Spain. SP1 0 to 3/8 is the size. It's got a small, what was that, a 3/8 inch arbor on it, and he was trying to get this off and couldn't get it off. He actually took it to a tool maker who tried to take it off, and in the process, this piece here, I'm not sure what happened, but there's a couple of, looks like keyways in here, and you can tell that something is broke in there, and I'm not exactly, some of you guys may know what fit down in those, how this went together. I'm not exactly sure how this all kind of went together, but bottom line is they kind of abused it. You know, I think it's still maybe salvageable. It appears to work, but you know, that right there, I'm not sure that really serves any function for us anymore. I may try to get this out and put an R8 spindle on there. We'll put it in the mill and see if there's any run out. He said he was getting a little bit of run out with this particular setup on here. But, you know, that's not a very heavy spindle for a chuck this size. So anyway, we may play around with that and see if we can salvage this. He said if it doesn't work out, don't feel about throwing it in the trash. So nothing to lose by trying, I guess. And let's see, we got a box full of all kinds of goodies here. So looks like end mills. I think he said this is the stuff he picked up at a yard sale. So let's just take them out here. So we got some nice end mills. That one there's solid carbide. Looks to be in good shape. Here's another solid carbide. That one's new in the box. I don't think it's even been used. All kinds of stuff going on here. All end mills. So, you know, we'll put these in with my other end mills. See what else we got. Got a pulley tap, they call this. It's a long stem tap. They call them pulley taps because on old pulleys, they needed to tap the set screw in the collar, but the pulley would be running way out here, and you need a long pulley to get down in there. So sent along a couple of pulley taps here, and 3/8 24. 3/8 24, both of those. Let's see what we got here. So reamers. This is a .4365, and I think these are all 3 reamers .4365. Yep, that one's .4365. This one's been used. That other one looks like it's brand new. And let's look at this other one here. That one again looks brand new. Or it may have been resharpened, but still 3 nice pulley taps there. Another fly cutter. This one was just a piece of brazed on carbide. Interesting, the carbide is actually brazed onto the fly cutter itself. More end mills. Again, got some carbide ones in here. Kind of mixed in, most of these high-speed steel. That one there's carbide. Even more end mills. Starting to get down into some smaller ones here. And again, got some carbide stuff in here. Nice selection of end mills. At the rate I'm going, I'm never going to have to buy an end mill again, which is a nice problem to have. let's see what we got here. So this is a slow spiral drill. I can tell this is carbide. Okay, so yeah, carbide spiral mill, but it's got a real, instead of the spiral on it is very, it's not as steep as on a regular drill. And all of these look like they're carbide. Let's see, this one here says step drill on it, and it's probably not showing up, but you got a little place there at the bottom that's smaller diameter than above it. So anyway, some really nice carbide drills there. Still digging. Now that's a specialized end mill there. That one has got a taper ground on it. This looks like it was probably reground, I mean professionally done, but I don't think it came from the factory this way. It's 3-flute. I don't know, it may be originally done that way, but that is actually going down to a taper and then a ball joint in the bottom. That must have had a very specialized use. And more end mills, getting in some bigger sizes here. Here's another one of those spirals. We got a counter bore. Another spiral end mill. That one there looks like it has been in a crash. More end mills, long drill bit, and more end mills. So, wow. And we're not done yet. Last thing I see in the box is a Brown & Sharp wiggler set. So, a lot of guys may not be familiar with the wiggler. Wiggler was it's a center finder, amongst other things, but you would, let's see, no, it goes in there this way. You put that ball in there, tighten this up, and you can run this on the mill and basically adjust it to find an edge. So it's an edge finder or center finder. You know, still has some uses today, but quite honestly, a lot of the uses for this have been kind of taken over by other tools. It comes with a couple of different probes, and this one here is actually for mounting an indicator onto. So if you want to, it's kind of got a little angle in there, and you'd mount an indicator in there for indicating like a tramming in a vise or something. It's been a long time since I've used a wiggler set. I may have to do a little video showing how to use one if you guys are interested in that, just to see. But anyway, nice complete wiggler set. I think I got a Starrett wiggler set in my toolbox, but I don't know that I've ever actually used it. But anyway, like I said, we may shoot a video on showing how to use the wiggler set. So there it is, guys. Quite the haul of tools and tooling. Some really nice stuff in here. Again, this shell mill just blows me away, as does these really nice test indicators, and you know, that's not even mentioning all the tooling here. And as I went back through that, laying it out, a big chunk of that tooling is carbide, which really makes it nice. All these big ones here, these are all solid carbide, and that's just a chunk of carbide in those big end mills right there. Even if that taper is something odd, I mean, that's still a chunk of carbide. So anyway, Dakota, thank you so much. Wow. I look at this and I still just shake my head. I can't believe you sent all this stuff along. Truly amazing what you guys out there on the YouTube community do. All right, so I got my parts diagram here and try to explain basically the area of the mill that I'm working on. So right here is the big pulley, and there's belts that go down to the motor, and this basically is what powers the whole machine, of course. And coming through this little gearbox back here Well, first thing it does is whenever you engage it, there's a little clutch mechanism in here with a pressure plate and whatever. Whenever you engage that, it spins the center of this shaft, and then of course the pulley is turning all of the time. And so there's kind of two different drive trains coming off this pulley. One is always turning, and then one is only turning whenever you engage the spindle. And to make a long story short here, there's these two rods that basically make a 90-degree and go down, and that is those two rods. One powers the rapid traverse, and one powers the feed on the machine. The rapid traverse is always turning whenever the machine is on, and of course the feed is only turning whenever the spindle is engaged. So one of these is turning all the time, and again rapid traverse and vice versa. The other one is just turning when the feed's going. So my problem has been that whenever I'm in rapid traverse, I get this this sound. It sounds almost like gear stripping out. You'll be going along, this all of a sudden, and it sounds terrible. It sounds like the whole machine's coming apart. And I wasn't really sure. I thought it was a clutch that I can tighten up at first, and I tightened it and over tightened it, and I never could make it stop. Turns out that was not the problem, and that was the easy fix. So I basically had to go into the machine and take all this stuff off to get to the back side back here, and this right here I think is the culprit. So on the back side of this, there's a gear that comes off of this pulley that is in essence turning this bevel gear, and then this is what drives this shaft that's going down. And it's another clutch type mechanism, or maybe not a clutch, but it's more of it's got a slip feature built into it, so that if the machine gets under a load, that it will give without breaking something. So when I took it apart, first thing you got here on the top is there's this little steel part, and it's not pushed down right now. This gets kind of pushed down, it's spring loaded, and there's a little E-clip that holds that together. But you got this steel plate, and there's kind of a clutch pad here, and this is a friction drive that goes between these two parts that basically spins the gear. And up underneath that, there's all these little springs, and I noticed that I'm missing 2 springs, and I've got 4 springs in here that are shorter than the rest for some reason. And I don't think that they should be. I think they should all be the same length. There's no reason for some of them to be shorter, and it's a different type of spring, these shorter ones are. Don't know why. It was rather obvious to me as I was taking this apart that someone has been into this machine before. And I think that when they put it back together, for whatever reason, they may not have put it back together exactly right. So anyway, all these little springs, I'm going to kind of pull them out. I'll leave the short ones in there for right now. This pulls up, and underneath these springs are a bunch of ball bearings in the bottom. And these ball bearings, I'm just going to roll them off here, is sitting on this little plate that has a bunch of little holes drilled in there that the ball bearing sits in. And the idea is that when this machine gets under stress, the ball bearings will come up on the spring power and it'll slip. And the problem that I've got is that it is slipping too much, and that's that sound that I'm hearing is these ball bearings going around and around and around. Let me zoom in here a little bit tighter, and I'll show you a couple of things I think is the problem. So if you look down here on this bottom piece, again, you got all these little holes where the ball bearings sit in, but there's actually been a little groove worn between these channels where that ball bearing has been slipping over years and years and years of use. And this little piece right here, I think, is really my biggest problem, is that because that's in there, it's wanting to slide easier than it should be. And also, obviously, I think that part of the problem is not having the correct springs in here, and not enough springs. It's not putting enough spring pressure on there to properly load this. So I'm at a little bit of a loss of what to do. You know, this is a fairly complicated part. I think I could make that if I had to. I don't know what kind of steel it is. It's probably hardened. I'm guessing, but I don't know. I haven't done any investigating on that at all. So that's the problem, guys. Don't know exactly what I'm going to do. You know, I guess I can try to find a replacement part. I don't know if there's any, you know, new old stock Kearney tractor parts that are in a warehouse somewhere that I can order up. And even if there is, I highly suspect that it'll probably be way too expensive to buy just this one part. It's been my experience on this kind of stuff that the parts are worth about as much as the whole machine, at least what I got in this machine. So I guess I just have to look and see and make a call. Again, I think I could make this part if I have to, and that may be what I end up doing. The irony is I'll probably have to go borrow someone's horizontal mill to make the part on, because it was going to require cutting some splines, and you know that's going to need to be done on the horizontal mill. I can drill these out on my dividing head, I think, on the vertical mill. But anyway, we're going to have to see what we can do, and also need to find a source for these springs. I think these will probably be, you know, springs are usually pretty easy to find, and we'll have to get the right number. I'm not sure why I've got two different kinds in here. Like I said, I don't think that's original, and the problem is I don't really know which one is original, whether it's the little small spring or the big spring. Anyway, we'll have to see what we're going to do. I don't know what we're going to do. If anybody's got any suggestions, ideas, by all means, let me know, and we'll come up with a plan of action. Another viewer appreciation gift came in. This one from Tom Herring. Tom is up in Belmont, Wisconsin, and Tom sent along also a couple of interesting items. So let me zoom you in here so you can see this. So first item here is some Pullmore belt dressing. It's kind of box, 1 pound. And what's really amazing to me about this, though, is, I mean, look at this box. This box is pristine. And he put a note in here. It says, purchased a case of this in storage since the 1940s. So I wasn't quite clear, Tom, if you purchased this in the 1940s or whether you somehow ended up with a case of this stuff that was originally purchased in the 1940s. I'm guessing the latter, but regardless, an amazing find. For you those that are not familiar with this belt dressing, when you're working around machinery, flat belt machinery, old machinery like we have a lot of at the museum, you would basically rub this stuff onto the belts, and it would help the belts grip on the pulleys, just kind of help dress those belts. And this old stuff like this is really hard to find. You can still get some belt dressing, but this is kind of a stick inside. It's a hard material, and you would literally just kind of tear the box away, and it would expose that stick. And as it wore down, it would just eat away the box, and you just basically just rub this along the belt, and it would transfer to the belt and help give you some more friction. This is going out to the museum. It's in such pristine shape, I almost hate to use it. This might actually end up at the museum's hardware store or something like that, because it is such a nice new old stock piece. I don't know, we'll see what ends up with it, but regardless, I do appreciate it, and this will get used out at the museum. The other thing that Tom sent along is also kind of interesting. So he sent along a bottle of Molly D tapping fluid. Now, Molly D still makes tapping fluid to this day, and it's good stuff. I have used some in the past. I haven't used it a lot, but what's kind of unique about this particular bottle is this is an old bottle of tapping fluid, and like he's put it on his note here, it says the good stuff, original formula. So at some point back in the I don't know, late 80s, early 90s, they basically had to take some of the stuff out of this because of worrying about contaminating the environment or what have you. And don't get me wrong, I'm not wanting to go out and contaminate the environment, but at the same time, the old stuff just works so much better. I can remember back in the late 80s using the original Tap Magic stuff, which we used a lot in the shop I worked in. And you compare that with the Tap Magic you get now. The Tap Magic you get now is good, don't get me wrong, but that old stuff was just really, really awesome. So anyway, this is something else. Original bottle, does not appear to have ever been opened. It's almost a museum piece itself, so we'll see what we do with this. Whether it gets used or put on display at the museum, one way or the other. I do appreciate both of these. So that'll wrap up another episode of Odds and Ends. To you guys that stood with me the whole time and made it to the end, thank you very much. You're my dedicated viewers, and I really do appreciate all of you. Leave me a comment. Again, go follow me on my Google Plus account. I'm going to really start trying to use that a little bit better. And we'll see you guys next time and try to get some new content up to you. Got some good machine shop stuff coming. Just need to get it edited and put up, so be looking out for that. We'll talk to you later.